Well, I hope I'm going live right now. We'll see what happens. What I'm using here is a platform that allows me to go through, YouTube, Periscope, VK, Twitch, Facebook, whatever I want at the same time. And in the past, it's been kind of successful, so here we go. Had to check it out. So either I'm talking to myself or it's actually doing its task. So in any case, let's see if this is working. I'm going to just go offline here for a second and see if, I'll be right back. I just want to see, so it appears that this went online, so we're okay. At least I think I'm okay right now. But again, getting back to the bigger point, it gives you and me an opportunity to go unfettered, to be able to say what we want, which is why we've kind of thrown quite a few people since the beginning of Advisors out of the group. It almost happened immediately, and thankfully through some members it came to my attention that it would be best to have them out, because this isn't an open forum. Because once you start an open forum, you'll have what I had before on my previous page, and it goes nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And we're in such a situation now that we have to be together. We have to be partisans, and you need to share this, folks. This is not a monetized channel. Dave and I simply want to be helpful in this situation, trying to coalesce like minds, make sure that we actively get involved in this election season, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But we have to work together. Together, we become super. If we try to do it alone, it won't work. So I would appreciate, if you're watching this, that you would not necessarily share this video. That's not what I'm asking, but as always, please share the page, okay? Because the more the better in this case. And of course, you're going to want to share this, again, to like-minded people. It would do no good at all to share this with the opposition, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So, just anecdotally, I want to express my perspective on this voting season. And by the way, we will discuss this tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. David and I will be on. So if you have a chance, make sure you watch, or after it's over, whenever you can, take a peek, put some comments down. Be happy to hear from you. But I remember back in the early 70s, when I started playing hockey, I just loved going to ponds and lakes and skating, because there was a certain freedom in it. You could go there alone, which was kind of a dangerous thing, but it was just a beautiful thing. You were out in nature, you were getting fresh air. And I remember how thick the ice was. And after a few years, I had noticed a perceptible change in our winters. Again, this is anecdotal. I'm certainly not a climatologist, but it really didn't take all that much technical knowledge to realize that something was happening. I knew that the winters were generally getting warmer, and geez, you'd have to be an idiot not to know how quickly this planet is warming. And this video is not about global warming, but what I do want to say is, again, with my perspective, I think any of us who have a deep sense of the environment around us, the political environment or the actual natural environment around us, if you have a deep sense, kind of like what an artist would have, a deep sense of what's happening, you would see that something's terribly wrong. And there is something terribly wrong this season. You would only have to watch the Senate hearings or the congressional hearings that are going on right now with Louis DeJoy to see the divisions. I mean, you will see these Republicans who are going to support this psychotic piece of crap, despite the fact that he is obviously trying to subvert the post office, which is why, by the way, I went to a recent post office rally in my hometown of Bridgeton, New Jersey, recently. It really doesn't take too much to understand. We are at the point of collapse, whether it's environmental collapse or political collapse. And I think we're at least at the point now where we understand that the cheat can happen. Those who never would have thought that this kind of thing could happen realize now that he's going to do this. The question is, just how far will he go? And I've said this before with David, in for an inch, in for a pound. And what bothers me is, and again, all you have to do is look at these hearings. What bothers me is what you see with these supporters, and they will go all the way. And this relates to a post that I made recently with Sam Harris about reason and evidence. These people don't respect evidence, which means they aren't reasonable. And this is not a question of simply, the country dividing and we have to get somewhere in the middle. No, there's something terribly, terribly wrong with the reasoning of the other side. It's kind of like the Civil War. I mean, it was very, very clear cut in 1860. Who was the good side and who was the bad side. It didn't take too much. There should have been no negotiation. And that is the same that we can apply to this case. There can be no negotiation. The other side is intransigent, they're unassailable, and nor should we have any type of idea that they're going to be fair or they're going to accept the election. No matter what happens, whether Biden wins or whether it's a contested election, don't expect anything good, because nothing has been good. What we really have to do is just, first of all, accept it. Something like what Lenny Bruce said, do you know what the truth is? Do you really want to know what the truth is? Well, the truth is what is, okay? And everything else was a terrible lie. It's been told since long ago. And now's the time to dissect the situation and throw out the cancer. We know what the problem is, and there's no way to get around it. They're unreasonable. There's no way to negotiate. And this is what upsets me about the third party people, because, out of their own selfishness, the idea that somehow they're above it all and that, these two candidates are the same. Where have they gotten us? Well, David and I have discussed that many times and been reasonable to these people, and they're just as unreasonable because they want to be the academic elite who understand more than anybody what the real issue is, okay? That the elite are taking over. But it's simply not the case. So, from all of this, I'm just pleading with you. Take this seriously, because the other side is, and they are going to they're not going to stop at any end to do what they want to do. I've seen it. And it's just like what I witnessed, as an adolescent seeing how the winters were waning, so will be the concept of democracy in this country. That it can happen, believe me, I was for the coup, and I was there during the coup in Moscow in 1991. And when you see the tanks coming down, you see the soldiers with machine guns, and you see how far people will go to try to get what they want and almost succeed, then you'll know that you don't live in an isolated environment. This is the real deal. Your life is at great risk right now. And this is not a conspiracy. This is just a reasonable conversation. And I really didn't want to do this type of channel or page. It even entered my mind to be making these types of videos. I was not that type of person. I mean, I was rebellious, but I just wouldn't stick my face in a rectangle and start spouting things off, jeopardizing my friendships and my family. I mean, how many of you have friends and relatives who are on the other side? And then you get the understand, you unwise just through the situation, why they were the most who wanted to pinch every penny and take, and why they would cheat, and why they would be racist, whatever it is. This answers it all. And it's just either being unreasonable and or being selfish. And I'm not gonna live that way. I'm not gonna make that mistake in my life. I'd rather die. So I again would like to say that I appreciate everybody who's part of this group. There are no kings in this group. We're all equal members. It just so happens that Dave and I administer it, but we're more, I don't even like the name administrator. I mean, we are held accountable because we are the administrator, but I think there's a much better